Hey guys, JT plays here. We're exploring the Pendle Creative Library once more with Honest Honos, Honor Toys. I gotta say, this stall looks pretty nice. It's just, well, about the context behind it. For all our various characters that linked back in some way to Miss Hecate, Honest Honos is perhaps the least notable despite the fact she survived almost 20 years. Considerably longer than the others. Honest Honos was a doll line by Honor Toys that ran from 2001 until 2019. Honor Toys was a company that specialized in military toys and was officially partnered with the United States Army. Remote control tanks, toy soldiers, battleships that shot that shoot plastic rounds, camo print costumes, brightly colored guns with foam bullets, and Navy submarines children can bring in the bath were all the staples of the company. In 2001, Honor Toys realized that the majority of their marketing and products were targeted at boys, while girls were generally less interested in the very masculine military toys. To rectify this problem, Honor Toys released Honest Anos, an curated fashion doll inspired by different military ranks and uniforms. Like the Jeep, Honest Anos was designed by Roger Langley, a toy designer for Anos Toys and former U.S. Navy veteran. Roger had experience with collecting and cultivating toys and other trinkets for an organization dedicated to educational and archival work. That may or may not be the Children of America. Just gonna say that right now. He left this group as a young man to join the military and raise his future under a different mass, huh? Though his fondness for dolls followed him throughout his life. According to Roger, Hanos was made as a way to highlight the often overlooked accomplishments of women in the military, as well as a way to help little girls gain an interest in the armed forces. Hanos was meant to be a role model for girls, as she said to be as strong, smart, and brave as any man. At, as the toy line expanded, Hanos found herself representing many different branches and ranks of the military. The most popular being her formal dress uniform that was inspired by vintage fashions, her army uniform that was functional and fashionable, and her navy uniform that was cute and playful. Toy soldiers have been a staple of childhood for hundreds of years, some of the oldest dating back to the ancient worlds of Egypt, where pharaohs decorated their tombs with miniature clay soldiers and chariots. In the late 1700s in France, silver modeled soldiers were melted down and reborn as new coinage. Many great military strategists have used toy soldiers to plan battles, tactics, and win wars. Honest Tonos. War drives sales for toy soldiers, and in turn, war toys encourage children to aspire to join the military. It's natural for children to gravitate towards a style of play that mimics their reality. And the highly romanticized image of the great American soldier turns something like war into a heroic and noble game. After the World's Fair incident in the 60s, toys associated with the war overseas saw a massive uptick in popularity and brought in millions of dollars in sales in the United States. As as part of Hanos Toys' partnership with the United States Army, many of their products including Honest Hanos dolls were sent overseas to countries affected by war to be airdropped to children as a way to spread positivity and joy. I, uh, this just reads as the textbook definition of dark humor. I'm sorry, it does. The Honest Hanno's toy line did well enough to be something most children would expect to see on shelves as toy stores, but did not stand out much compared to other fashion dolls of the time. Her outfits and themes were not particularly special or unique, and the cheap materials the dolls were made of did not make them very appealing to collectors. After the voters' revolution in 2019, Honest Tonos was quietly discontinued by Honor Toys as the public opinion towards the U.S. military changed. And then we get Hecate cigarettes, and there's nothing here. I mean, there's photos. It's something special, something wonderful. Miss Hecate is calling you. Okay, but her phone doesn't have a line. And we can also see her face now, which is a sign of bad stuff. I don't know. I've always gone on the theory that if we were to see Hecate's true face, people would essentially die. Because with Greeks, I think in Greek mythology, it's said that if you see the face of a actual god or the true form, you will die. So, but speaking of things going awry and death,
Penny? Penny, I can't see you. It's dark and there's red everywhere. I can hear you. I can hear you typing.
so Ian can't see Penny, but he can hear him typing. Again, during the slasher walkthrough, Murphy mentioned the site is alive. So, speaking of things that are alive, you wouldn't believe who's making this, who wrote this. After we listen to this jingle. Almost makes you forget Hecate is not good. And I say this and it's getting overcast outside. Hecate, you have no chill. At night, as I toss and turn, my mind often starts to think of the events that led us here. It is a story of red, a story of smoke, a story of beauty, a story of betrayal, a story beginning in the brightest imagined future, a story ending in the fading cigarette trail of that thing you call history. Yeah, this is Hecate, all right. She is. She's writing the articles now. And I don't know how to feel about that. Stories. Yes, how I used to love stories, although now all they seem to do is fill my heart with dread. Some people say that cigarettes came from fields and are made by man. But could a man truly make something so divine? If you want my opinion, little fairies make them. I always found the idea delightful. I still dream of that world, where we did not know where cigarettes come from. Something special, something wonderful. How does one even begin to describe the tragedy I was subjected to? How? If you'll forgive me, could you ever understand the depths to which I've fallen? The heartache, the anger, the sorrow, the empty pit that I was abandoned in, mocked by the jeers and caricatures of those who never knew what it was like to be a part of something special, something wonderful. But perhaps that is getting ahead of ourselves. Our Penny M, she always did favor writing these with a linear fashion. Yet I find myself more tied to this article than the ones written on my other daughters. And if my history is to be detailed, it should be done by myself, yes? Well, I do want to know more about you, Miss Hecate, so yes, I think that would be for the best too. Penny may write about toys and cattle and plastic dolls, words corrected by my vision, of course, but to gaze upon a goddess would destroy her. So let me tell you the story of H brands, the story of cigarettes, and the story of me. See what I mean? To gaze upon a goddess would destroy her. Well, I did want to see Penny not wind up dying, so I guess Miss Hecate's given me my wish for now. Long ago, before it was anything, a great destiny was born from the imported dreams and exported crops of brave travelers establishing a new world upon blank inhabited rock. Oh, how brave they were, fleeing from violence, from a force threatening to devour the world, and setting up a safe haven for the unwanted, the downtrodden, the ones with the white courage to conquer the forest and extract its riches from the earth. It was the birth of something special, something wonderful. The kingdom established upon its solid foundation soon grew, expanding its borders, enriching its people, and making plans to spread its light across the world. Yet an evil king, resentful to it resentful of his people's freedom, attacked the new world. And from the darkness of the uncharted forest and marshlands, frightful monsters emerged, dragging the innocents into the night for twisted and repulsive rituals. Yet in their hour of need, something was discovered from the ground beneath, waiting patiently for those forsaken by crown and God. It was not diamonds, it was not gold. No, it was something special, something wonderful, something with roots and leaves and flowers as pink as a baby's skin. The brave men with muskets and flintlock chased away the darkness of the unknown with the light of civilization. And with their acquired capital boosted, the strength to drive the evil king away. Oh, it must have been wonderful to witness with one's own eyes, to be part of that noble quest. With their newfound freedom, the brave men, the first great men of history, created something called a country. Something, though, which civilization could be nurtured and made to thrive. Yet the world was still unhappy. Despite all the freedoms now afforded to these citizens, wandering, claiming, owning, buying, they felt a hole within their hearts, and an emptiness which, if allowed to grow, would have destroyed everything and everyone. It was a place for me, you see, a place vacant of cigarettes. Now within this kingdom was a destiny formed from those who discovered the wonderful plant which built the country to begin with. Men who dreamed of more than just rights, freedoms. No, they dreamed of cigarettes. Yet, for all their dreams, it would be years before they could realize the magic to make something special, something wonderful. 1881, a number that despite my sorrow brings mirth to these red lips. On the darkest of my ever dark days, on what a time it was of innovation, of discovery, of goodwill towards man, of an invention which was truly special, truly wonderful. Though I never quite understood how the machine worked, it was revolutionary, rolling cigarettes at the speed of raindrops and propelling my birthright kingdom to ever increasing splendor. I never met the man responsible for this machine, the machine responsible for my birth, but he must have been a very special man indeed. And although we never spoke, his business ventures always carried my blessings. What a funny little man that was created from them too. He always did make me laugh. I wonder what happened to him. So I'm gonna take it that this is referring to teleelectric. So Hecate doesn't know what happened to Telly, which kind of interesting because of because we know that Telly's um heavily associated with the attack that happened at the World Fair. Enough about men, though. You want to hear about the women. Oh, I know you do. Within the skin of every successful man is a woman waiting to inherit what she helped to build. And thus I emerged, slowly taking decades to form an identity, reaching from red to ever luminous rays of white. The early years were spent inhabiting the roles required of me, whether they be diner, singer, nurse, or waitress. I even donned the appearance of a hopelessly love struck wife waiting on a soldier. But truthfully, waiting for anyone has always seemed like such a waste. So I quickly inhabited better ideas, better bodies, everything I touched becoming something special, something wonderful. Beckoned into a kingdom that exhaled my birth, seen as the brighter of riches, wealth, fame, prosperity. What a lovely feeling it was. Doctors, musicians, cooks, tycoons, and many more great men courted me, appropriate approaching my forefathers for permission to have my hand, to see the world as I did, the world of lights, colors, mansions. Yet the people wanted more from me. They always wanted more. And that the amazing thing, my reader, is that with the power of cigarettes, more was constantly given to their desperate lips. At the time, it seemed as if America and I were great friends. Friends of, of the entire world, even. Yet now, with sight, I know it was always the relationship of an owner and her pet. It was a bit like that bird that used to entertain me so. Ricky, Robbie, his name was Ronnie. Yes, that lovely, lovable little creature. Rue always loved cigarettes, downed them like sardines. Actually, hold on. Going back to this, I'm wondering if this is reference to Winnie, possibly. Secti's bad with names, and I don't know it, or maybe Millie, because it says bird. So, but it is a she, Miss Hecate. Come on now, misgendering people. Ugh. Rue always loved cigarettes, downed them like sardines, and America was the same way. Did I ever feel lonely? Goodness, no. Bored might be a better word. At the time, it was just me and my imagined conceptual palace, with cigarette houses and ashen-skinned scaffs telling away in the distance. It was a good, honest life, but much like America, I craved new experiences, new people, new culture, new wonders. The world outside seemed so frightened, though. To jaunt across the globe with fancy binoculars and my favorite sun hat was nice enough, but oh, the violence was appalling. Never had I seen brutality or cruelty within my homeland. While some forsaken countries were barred from collaborating with my kingdom, I never knew when they might bite. Best to keep my distance, dwelling behind fancy pillars. Sightings of men hoping to be great men reached up towards me. And I met her, that little bee. Though I spoke of her during her unearned time of examination, it still brings me relief in my pain to remember what we once had. Sugar and tobacco, two old friends which worked to make this country great. And with Hecate having access to the site, basically, I wonder if she knows what happened to Beatrice. Because again, Factory 9 swallowed her up and is using her. I met so many people, from sergeants to barons, pilots to generals, even the queen, descendant of that evil king who once threatened my great destiny. though we got along quite well, if I recall. No one ever made me feel so curious, so proud as her name. Betty. She always liked to be called Betty. Betty B. Beatrice. A destined partnership. With everything seeing our two industries, our two kingdoms, to be hitched together and make a new world, and yet I'm getting ahead of myself. My animated years, yes. What saved me from being forgotten forever. It seems you humans always did love a good mystery, a good scary legend to haunt the corners of your circles. For me, though, that time was neither a nightmare nor a myth. It was a beautiful time. Never before had I ever been so complete. Lines drawn out for me to inhibit the kingdom of light spreading ever farther along the pedestrian lines. We built towns, we built hospitals, countries, industries, turnpikes, channels, pathways. The map of the world owes every intersection and road to cigarettes. New people we were met, new great men replacing the great men of before, and characters. Oh, I have never met a character before. It was so exciting, so brand new, so Betty. Okay, now I'm second guessing myself. Could Betty possibly be Maisie and she's getting names mixed up? No, she does mention cartoon dogs and fireflies, impish devils, ghosts, handsome cartoon men, scuttling penguins, and downtrodden salesmen. From the outside, I still felt quite new to everything in the world, or more likely everything I saw the new and undiscovered. For bad, for good, oh those times. Characters spun me around so fast I thought I would fly to Olympus. That is the name for the Christian heaven, correct? Itself. If you hold me, I will hold on. I used to say in those moving pictures, I'll rest in your pockets and be there when you need me. Put me down and you won't forget me. The taste of nicotine drawing our lips together. I became something special, something wonderful. Every single time my name was uttered on the lips of those who knew me. Every person in the land called America knew me as one of their own and someone special, someone wonderful. Then there there were the bad years. And must we really speak on them? If not just to contrast what came before as a war cry to return to what was once special, was once wonderful. A self-centered, self-important, bispectral little man calling himself a scientist. Not a great man or a remembered man, but an outsider infringing upon the intellectual property of my history. He stormed in with historical complaints on his lips to sow division against his peers. Like an unwanted guest at a grand ball, he and his lackeys pointed to numbers which did not make sense in threads connecting unconnecting connected things. At the time, of course, I had found him so funny, an amusement, a jester pulled into the play. It is not so funny anymore. Has even a person or culture experienced the humiliation, the heartache, the indigestion, the atrocities that I have? If you look through your beloved history, I think you would find that my suffering is so unique and special that to understand the full capacity of it would kill you dead. Like the fallen angels from those old legends, like Napoleon alone in his cabin, to be made a mockery of, to be laughed at, to be no longer wanted and have the form I so love turned into a parody of itself to denounce everything I ever have and still do believe in. A witch stealing babies' first breaths, the murder of 1,000 people, a million's beloved mothers, all all absurd claims. Cigarettes are good for your health. Countless doctors, esteemed gentlemen, and renowned car salesmen had long crunched the numbers and made the data set. Facts made resolute, never stricken false by those future untruths. Even so, those who took part became part of something special, something wonderful. They became part of the world of cigarettes. Companies and destinies, great men are boats carrying people through history, like that one where Noah sent down the flood, or was it Zeus, to punish one of his many bastard children, or was that Neptune? Regardless, these boats are what matter in the end when history is written, not the immutable, generate history you know, but the great 10 minutes to read at best history that I know. All that is contained is in this true history of is the names of the boats and their captains. Isn't that wonderful? You may die, but you will become a part of their legacy. Unnamed, yes, but part of something special, something wonderful. These boats, vessels for legacy, they will be made from something strong, something sturdy. They will be made from cigarettes. Not long now. Be patient, don't go wandering off. Wait with me while the preparations are made. Every year a history is a rug every year of history is a rug on a ladder, and the ladder stretches down into a bloody red pit. Speaking of bloody things,
Penny, you didn't die at the party. You didn't die. I need you to know you didn't die.
Ian didn't die at the party. Interesting. We've got some history to take a look at. This is JT signing out. Brace yourselves.